Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a flip through of my first ever completed journal and showing you all of the spreads in the journal. So as you can see on the first page here, I've gone through my journal and put some sticky notes and pieces of paper on some of the pages I want to keep private, and also clip together pages of just writing that I do not want to show on the internet. But yeah, there is still a lot of spreads that I will show. So first you can see it starts off in 2025, where I intended to make this journal my little scrapbook, which is why I have my 2025 scrapbook as the title page. And the first spread here is from my 18th birthday, but the first few spreads in this journal are all scrapbooky, but it slowly evolved into like a everything journal, as you will see soon. This page is for my college apps, and I wrote out my college essay that I submitted to all of my colleges, and I taped it in here also. And I also put like a list of the colleges I applied to and whether or not I got accepted or rejected, because I think that's just interesting to look back on in the future. The next page is, well, the next few pages actually are from a trip that me and my friends took to Disney for our senior trip. So yeah, I have like receipts, a lot of pictures, maps in there. These are like one of the first few like spreads I wanted to put in here, and the whole reason I started this journal was actually because I wanted to document the memories that I had from this trip. So you see, that's like day 3, when we went to Hollywood Studios, and there's very little writing on these pages, as you can see, which is something that changes on in the later spreads. Here it's mostly just pictures and like little doodles that I do. Another page from that trip, and I think there is one more after this one from day 5 of that trip, which was the last day. And you can see I also like taped in my little like key card for my hotel and stuff, and that makes my journal really chunky. And here's the last spread from that trip. It's the group photo we did with our whole senior class, and before I had it in a memory box, but I never really looked at it, and I was scared I was gonna lose it, so I put it in there. Another scrapbooky spread, although here you can see I have some writing, unlike the previous spreads. So the next spread right here is from my college acceptance to Smith, where I'm going currently, and I have a lot of the things from here are from my acceptance package that they sent me. The little flag and my another one of my college essays that I submitted to Smith. So I made a little pocket out of the tea bag they sent me, and I think it turned out very cute. And then we get to prom. I made this little fun scrapbooky little like waterfall thing I just found on Pinterest. It took me forever to make, but I love how it turned out. Um, I love how like interactive it is. And also this page of the Dutch door spread, I think that's what you called it. So as you'll see when I flip the page, I did like a 2 spreads for this event because I had a lot of pictures and little memorabilia that I wanted to put in. Yeah. More events that I did with my friends, senior sunset, a little picnic we went on, just little things like that that are very sweet to look on now. My high school graduation, just pictures, and I think I put in a ticket, and parts of like the paper that we got. I just put that in there. And I did a whole spread for my like senior yearbook picture and my senior quote. And you can see what I'm trying to show here is I put a little copy of my transcript is like folded up in that little pocket, along with my ID I put in there, and then also 4th of July fireworks with my friends. I put in pictures from that. And here's when you get to my college kind of time. I did a whole spread with like pictures and little things from orientation. Just things, little like things I did during orientation. I just put pictures from that. I did a spread from Convo and Mountain Day, which are 2 big Smith traditions that I put in. Just pictures from some writing, but not too much, as you can see. And then I have the spread from, or this page on the left, not the whole spread, is from Sib Week in my house. A picture of me and my big Sib and all the notes she gave me. I put in a little envelope. I think that looks really cute. And it's really nice to have those to look back on. And also a little event that I went to. Another event that I went to, a culture night in our school, and then also a recap of my first semester, which I just listed out the classes I took and stuff like that. And now here's when we get into 2026, and again, you can see I still call it my scrapbook, which I would not consider this a scrapbook anymore, but at the time it was still a scrapbook for me. I made a little vision board. So you can already see it's kind of becoming more of a journal rather than a scrapbook. Um, I just hung out with my friends and I did two things from that. We had a snow day, which is what's on the right, and then also a presentation night that I did with my friends. That was really fun. So I put some pictures in from that. And then here's, you can see kind of a flip in my journal where I'm doing so much more writing. It's still not a lot, but more than before, and it's a little Valentine's Day that I did with my friends, so now I'm actually writing about what I did also. More things from the Valentine's Day that we did where my friends made me little cards, so I put those into my journal also to keep them safe and so that I have them to look back on in the future. Um, yeah. And this is kind of the time where I was like all caught up in my journal. So I was doing these spreads as these things were happening. And rather than like going back and catching up in my journaling, which was really nice. Another party that I went to with my friends, I put pictures from that in there. It's kind of hard to get the flap closed, yeah. Pictures from that, and on the right, I have this little page for list out all the movies and shows that I watched that year. So yeah. And here's my first like journal spread that I would consider rather than just scrapbook. It's a ranking of Wishbone, one of my favorite albums by Conan Gray. As you can see, I made a little collage, and then I also ranked the album on the right page, which was very fun to make. Yeah. This next spread, another really good journal spread, is a little tea ranking I did because I wasn't really a tea drinker before college, but now I am because how cold it is in Massachusetts. And I took all of the tea bags and I put little pieces of paper in them, and wrote out a little review of each tea and what I thought of it, which I think is very nice. And it also smells like tea. Another party that I went to, so you can see there's more writing on these pages because I'm not going back into catching up on them, which is why I'm able to write stuff. Yeah, more writing. These are a little more like, at least the page on the left is more junk, kind of a junk spread from a little language event that I went to. Another journal spread with from one of my favorite movies, Little Woman. I put my favorite monologues, the marriage is an economic proposition, and then Joe's monologue on the left. Um, a list of all my hobbies, and also a currently page that I did. And these two were really, really fun to do. I love how they look together with the stripes and the plaid pattern. Very fun to do. Good, like no printer required spreads, which is always nice. Yeah, and on the left, I have ice skating. I went ice skating with my friends, and I put a picture from that. Yeah, on the left, or right rather, I have a list of like all the things that I love. It was very fun to make. Yeah. Here I have a spring mood board that I made. I love how that page turned out, like the collage, and then I also have a spring bucket list, which I got like mostly through it. I just have a list of things I wanted to do and then the date I did them, and then also a spring playlist that I made on Spotify, and I wrote down all the songs, which was really fun to look back on. And on the right, I covered that up because it was just some writing, and I don't want to share that. It's a little private. Um, and then you see, oh, I watched this movie, People We Meet, on vacation, and read the book, and I loved them both so much that I had to do a little spread for them. And again, I love how the spread turned out with the orange background and pictures. On the left here, I have a list of movies I wanted to watch. And then I would color in the popcorn as I watched the movies. So I didn't get very far into my list, but oh well. And on the right, I had a little thing of when I got my summer internship, and I wrote about how happy I was about that. Another party I went to on the left, and on the right is actually a letter from my, like, that I wrote during orientation to myself. And we had to write it during orientation, and we got it actually mailed to us. So when I got it, I put that in. It was very nice to read over because I'd really forgotten what I'd written. A spread, like the little calendar thing with a photo a day in April. Made sure to take a photo every single day in April, and then print it out. Like like a scrap of junk a day, kind of. That's what it was. The inspiration was. Um, oh, these are all my favorite lyrics from folklore. I didn't love the spread when I made it, but honestly, looking back on it, I really like how it all comes together. And oh, I'm trying to show you that that's just a few pages that are clipped together because they were just of writing. And on the right, I have this little lyrics from this really cute Italian song that we heard in my Italian class, and I thought it was so sweet, so I wrote the lyrics down. Um, yeah, more pages that are clipped together. That's what I'm trying to show on camera. And then I did a spread with some of the places I wanted to travel to. Very fun, classic, easy journal spread, I think. A little quote on the left with a fun little doodly background. And then on the right are lyrics to one of my favorite songs, Mine by Taylor Swift. Yeah, I love writing out song lyrics, as you will see. It's very fun. Yeah, more pages that are clipped together. Then I have a brownie recipe that I love making. So I decided to put that in there. And then a little collage for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, season 1, which I love. And I wrote my thoughts on that page also, along with the photos. Amazing show, you should definitely watch, now that season 2 is out. A little cafe I went to with my friends, and then on the right, what I'm showing there is a piece of paper I made at the Botanical Gardens, which was very fun. So I put it in there. On the left is just a reflection I was doing about the crisis I was having about my major, and I'm still having, but oh well. And on the right is just pictures of this really pretty tree that used to be outside my dorm room. And it was sadly cut down. So I put some pictures of it that I had. Yeah, I think it's just really funny to look back on. Really silly, but fun to make. Oh, again, more lyrics to two songs I love: "The House That Always Rains" and "Nauseous" by Conan Gray. I wrote out the lyrics, and then I also annotated it with a blue pen, like it was a poem. Just underlining lyrics I love. Very fun. On the left, I have a picture of my dorm room, or my old first year dorm. I drew out a little map of my dorm. And on the right is just some writing. I don't know what it's about, but it is what it is. Oh yeah, more writing. Bleach painting that I did with my lab. I wrote. So you can see how much more writing I do now in my journals as compared to before. A picnic I did with my friends. I made a cute journal spread about it, and you can see here, since I'm doing this in the moment, like a few days after maybe that picnic happened, I have so much more to say and so much more to write to fill up the space, which I love doing. Yeah, here I have a little thing from my roommate dinners, which we call family dinners, that I had. So, for our last one, we went out. So I put a little receipt and some writing about that. And on the right, I have my cheat sheet that not cheat sheet, but review sheet that I made for my final orgochemistry exam. And I loved that class a lot, which I know is an unpopular opinion, but I thought it was very fun. So I literally taped in all of my review sheet with everything that we learned for the whole semester. I had on there, and I put it in there after my exam because I think it's fun to look back on. More glued, pinned together pages of writing probably. And then I have a little note. Oh, I have the envelope with the note that my big sib gave me when because she was graduating, which is very sad. but I put that note in here because I love putting notes and stuff like that in my journal because I feel like it's just keeping them so safe rather than like in a box and I'm just scared I'll lose them. So I think it's nice to put them in my journal. And then I wrote about moving out, and that thing is just from my like nameplate on my door. I put take that from with me. Um, Another page with I went bowling with my lab, so I put pictures from that. And then on the right in the envelope I made, I have all the pictures that I had on my freshman dorm wall. I took those pictures down. I didn't want to throw them out, so I just put them in my journal, as one does. Um, oh, I love the spread on the left. It's from made with like dried flowers that I got during the spring, and I pressed them and dried them in like between books, and then I glued them onto this page and wrote a little quote about flowers. And on the right is a murder mystery night we had in my dorm, which was very fun. So I wrote about that. Yes, again, you'll see a page that's covered up, and on the right is a list of all my favorite books of all time. Um, yeah, very quick, very easy journal spread to do. More pages that are clipped together, and then on the right I have a ranking of Guts, one of my favorite albums. So I ranked that album. I love doing album rankings in my journal. I think they're so fun to look back on because my opinion always changes. Like even now, I probably look back on that and not agree with my rankings. So yeah, a bunch of pages that are clipped together because I was writing a lot more during this time because I was home and I had so much time. And on the right, I have a semester 2 recap with my schedule and like my classes that I took. On the left is a journal entry I did, but I did it in Italian because I like sometimes to journal in either French or Italian to practice. And then on the right is a bunch of pictures from lab, um, which I thought were cool, so I just put them in there. Um, Another spread of just writing. I think I meant to clip that together, but oh well. And then a spread of The Pit. Oh my god, I love that show so much, so I did a quick spread. Writing out like my opinions on the show. Definitely also recommend. More clipped together pages, and then also a Ravenclaw symbol because I am a Ravenclaw, and then on the right, a little quote from Dumbledore that I think completed the page really well. I think the two look very nice together. Yeah, more. As the journal goes on, there's just more and more pages that are clipped together because of how much more I was writing at home. Yeah, I think I have some writing, and on the right, I have a page for XO Kitty and my thoughts on the show. I was just bored, so I was literally doing whatever in my journal at this point. And on the left, I haven't. Oh, because I filled out my old like movie and shows list page, I made another one. So that I could keep track. And then more writing. On the left is literally a random quilt page that I made with like magazine clippings, and then lyrics or like songs about being 19, like a little lyric page. Um, a little list of journal prompts, which was really nice. And then a bunch of journal page ideas I had because I'm always like thinking of ideas or finding ideas on Pinterest and like typing them on my phone. So I put that in my journal so that I can look back on it. A list of my favorite things. I love how that page turned out with the orange and the font and everything about it. I love that page so much. And on the right is a list of things I can't imagine my life without. I did with color pencils. I think it looks cute. More clipped together pages, and then I saw this on Pinterest and I thought I'd recreate it in my journal. It just says "Let the chaos help you bloom," and I think it turned out very nice. Yeah, you can't really see the lines on the left page because they were done in color pencil, but in real life you can see it much better. More clipped together pages. There's a lot there. A little doodle spread that I did with some of my journaling wish list page. Yeah, nothing much to it. Honestly, I kind of just was doing whatever at this point. I was doing like 5 spreads a day probably at this point in my journal because of how bored I was. More pages that are clipped together. Oh, again, back to Wishbone. All the Wishbone lyrics that I love. Um, I originally just wanted to do one page, but it took up two, and honestly, I could have kept going. So yeah, um, that was fun to do. Sometimes it's nice to just do like these mindless spreads like this, where you're just copying stuff down. More movie and TV show reviews. So I did Good Girl Guide to Good Murder season 2, and then I didn't put pictures for that because I'd already put pictures for season 1 in the same journal, so it was like felt pointless. And on the right is the other Bennett sister, but I did put pictures from that. I love that show so much. Very nice. I would definitely recommend. Oh, um, because of how much new music that's coming out in 2026 this year, I made a list of all the artists that I listen to that are coming out with new albums this year, and I made a list so that I don't know. I think it's just cool to look back on, give some like time context to the journal. Just fun to do, more writing. And then there's a bunch of clipped together pages for like things I wrote that I don't want to share, but then you get to the end page where I just did a little journal number 1 finished on June 9th, 2026. So like about a week ago. And that's the end of my journal, for my first ever journal. I have started my second journal now. But yeah, that's kind of it for my journaling flip through. Let me know which spreads were your favorite, which ones you want to recreate, or if you have other ideas for spreads I should make in my new journal. If you have any questions for any supplies I use, leave them in the comments. I'll be sure to reply. And thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.